Okay. Hello, everybody. We're just gonna do a little sound check here. Check. Check one, check two. And then now we're gonna transition into this smooth fade. Hi, everybody. Welcome to the local Cinema Twitch channel. I'm your host, Teresa Sweetheart. I hope everybody's doing well. Hope everybody's doing great. We have a special guest on the stream today. She is honestly, yeah, a legend in her own right. Very much like somebody that I've kind of got to watch kind of progress and change, and somebody who I definitely like dare I say idolized a little bit when I first came into the scene in Portland. We have here with us Crystal Cortez. How are you doing, Crystal?
Hey Teresa.
Hi.
Hi. I'm doing good. I just finished work, but I'm really excited to be on the local cinema channel with you.
Yes. Oh, Allie says hi from Rare Earth. Hi, Allie.
Hey
Um,
Allie.
yeah. So, no, I really appreciate you coming on. And yeah, no, uh, I really do feel as though like, yeah, no, because if you go back on my Instagram page, the first post, it's either the first or the second, but is you playing at that fashion store with Bryn, and then it was Marcus, I think. I don't know how you say it, but
Yeah.
it was that, and then like I saw you at the Six a while back, and it was just like really satisfying to like see that like kind of change, and to see you like still going after like, because I think it's been like 4 years since that happened. I don't know,
Yeah,
maybe
like close
three.
at least three-ish. Yeah. But I mean that like fashion or that clothing store show, like I feel like I'd only been playing as a solo act for like 6 months before that or something. Like not
Hmm.
a super long time as a solo act. So that's really cool. I'm really honored that I was one of your first posts.
Yeah, no, you're one of the very first, the very early ones. No, and I
And
guess
it's
like,
like, oh, I was just gonna say it's like so sweet to have like friends who have like witnessed the changes too. Like I'm so glad you're at that sick show. I'm bummed that we didn't get to play together yesterday,
oh
was it?
yeah,
Or 2 days ago?
yeah, no, on Saturday. No, that is a bummer, but I don't know. I feel like there will definitely be another opportunity.
Fingers
I had actually planned quite a bit of my banter around like you going first. And so I kind of had to like make up new stuff.
Dang
Um
it. I wish I could
but
hear that. We gotta do it just
no,
for
we do
that.
have to do it. We absolutely have to do it. But
Yeah. I mean, honestly, return the love for sure. Like you're one of my absolute favorite performers in Portland, and
aww,
I would love to catch any show you're ever doing because I always
aww,
know that it's gonna be great. So
aww. No, I very much appreciate that. I very much appreciate that. Um all right. Enough ego inflation. Now it's time for the hard hitting journalism.
ah,
Journalism. How do you how do you spend your time? What do you do all day?
I work like all the time. Like I work from when I wake up to when I go to sleep most of the days except for on the weekend because
Mm.
I have a full-time teaching job.
Mm.
So it's like wake up, class prep, teach, and then do emails and other meetings and maybe I get to like paint or like make some
Mm.
music, but
Mm.
it's like usually like one little creative activity a day, like on the weekend
Mm.
or on the weekdays. and then I pack as much as I can into the weekend.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
No,
That's
that
kind of the
go ahead.
Oh, that's basically it.
Mm. Yeah, no, that kind of does in a way. I do think that it's like it really is kind of fascinating to think about how, yeah, there's sort of this idea that like in order to get good at stuff you have to be just like you have to be sort of like locking yourself in a room for 8 hours a day doing all this stuff. But like what is really sort of fascinating and honestly genuinely encouraging about the scene is that, yeah, most of the people like that I see around don't have the time to like lock themselves in a room for 8 hours a day because they're already like getting locked in a room for like 8 or 6 hours a day at their like job. So like it is just like I don't know. I do just find it nice that it's like or kind of empowering, and it's like, yeah, it's like everybody is just doing like one thing every day and it's kind of just like this recurring practice. I don't know.
Yeah, me too. And I still like, I don't know, I think sometimes I still imagine that everyone else like gets to have more time, but I know that when I talk to all my friends, they don't either.
Yeah.
Um, but it's like, I feel like on the bright side, like it does kind of keep the art as like the therapy aspect of it that it is
Mhm.
for me, like when I get to it, it's like so exciting and like I can actually feel like I have so much to channel because I've just been working and I like haven't had
Mm.
any outlet. And sometimes like nothing good at all comes out of that, but at least like the feeling of making art is still in that place of like some type of like personal therapy, you know?
Yeah. No, I feel like that's actually something I've kind of lost touch with in a way. I sort of feel like I'm too much I like have so much of this like hustle mindset with music. Not even so much like I don't even know if it's really a hustle mindset. I don't know if that's fair because I don't really like do that, but at least for me there is this certain like I haven't really gotten to like make I haven't really gotten to just like mess around with stuff in like a while. I feel like I'm always kind of like doing something for like the to like finish up some project. I feel like I don't really have cuz even just like, yeah, messing around with stuff and like exploring things, that has a new name for me. It's called like research. Like I literally refer to it as like this R&D kind of thing. Like and I don't yeah, no, cuz I sort of feel like I don't do anything all day and yet I'm like and I but I'm obviously like working all the time. It's weird.
Yeah. I mean, I think like I have learned to recategorize the research process as practice. Like
Yeah.
no matter what it is, even if it's like the research process is me like sitting on my floor, like
Mhm.
thinking about things.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
then that's like music practice to me. And sometimes that literally is the only music practice I do in a
Yeah.
week is just like sit and think about it.
Yeah. No, it
But I don't know, the hustle thing is real too though. And maybe it's like to me like what's resonating is like maybe it's like about a different stage in the process. Like I feel like I
mm,
just started like a really new thing. So I'm like in that like exploring mode and trying to figure it
mhm.
out. And like you might be like putting finishing touches on things or like I don't know. It might be
Yeah.
different stages.
Yeah, no, I feel like I'm always in the like putting finishing touches on things sort of mode. But also I do sort of want to back on the topic of like kind of what do you do all day like cuz you were not always teaching at this teaching job, right? So
Yeah.
before you got this teaching job, what was kind of your daily routine like?
Yeah. Well, my journey is kind of weird because before I got this teaching job, I was a full-time student in the program that I teach for, and I
Mm.
graduated, and then they asked me to teach a month later.
Oh, whoa.
So I went from like full-time student in that program to teaching. It wasn't full-time teaching right away, but as a
Right.
student, like I was working at the college, like at the front desk of the like Sonic Arts department or the arts department, just like sitting there doing nothing all day.
Mm-hmm.
Um, which was cool because then I
Yeah.
would like do that like getting down like YouTube rabbit holes and like just that was where I found like a lot of cool ideas. And then I lived in this really tiny apartment with this one other person that I didn't know at all and was like
Mm.
totally opposite from me.
Oh
So,
no.
but what was cool about them is they let me like take over the garage that had all their like family storage in it. And so I just like I practiced a lot during that time. Like
Mm.
I actually had hands on my music a lot more
Mm-hmm.
then because our apartment was like so crowded. I
Mm.
would just be like, I'm just gonna be in the garage like all the time.
No, yeah. That's the other thing too, is it is about like it's not so much about actually doing things more but rather like creating opportunities for you to do things, right? Because
Yeah.
like I find that that's my biggest problem with like when I get into a state, I don't really want to like leave it. Is sort of this tendency I have, like especially if I especially notice it when I like get into bed. Like I find myself wandering into bed sometimes because, you know, I don't want to sit at my desk anymore. So my desk is like opposite my bed. So I just like spend all of my time like kind of oscillating between like lying down and then like sitting in this chair and like but what I notice is that like yeah, I don't even necessarily have to like want to do anything in particular. As long as I can convince myself to get out of bed and like sit in the chair, something then like tends to happen.
Yeah, I feel like that's like 90% of the battle. And
Yeah.
for me, it's like I have like a hate relationship with my computer because I teach on Zoom. And so I teach on Zoom and then all of my music making is also on my computer. So then
mm,
I'm just like so done with the
yeah.
computer that that's a limitation for me too. So I have to like move my computer to a different location to make
Yeah.
it feel like it's different, you know?
Yeah.
All these like little tricks, these little like mind tricks that we have to do, I feel like to get any sort of creativity happening. Also, like I feel like if I know for myself that I just need to like play one sound. If I hear one sound, then I'm like ready, you know? But if I sit
Mhm.
there and like look at my Ableton projects or like don't actually make a sound for a while, I'll like be like,
Yeah.
I could like go watch something or like, you
Yeah.
know? I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah, I feel like I definitely I feel like I need more than the sound. I if I play because a lot of times I'll just like hear a loop. I'll get kind of like stuck in the loop in that kind of classic sort of sense. But I don't really care about like having a bunch of about like sitting on a bunch of stuff anymore. In fact, it's become apparent to me that that's like actually the power move because like one of these days like I will just be like opening a project or like have something open and I'll just be like, oh, actually I'll just like recycle this idea for this like other thing that I have and it'll just totally work. um yeah, I don't know, I find that that's like, and it's crazy because like yeah, I've managed to accumulate this like huge repository of like project files, and
Mhm.
I kind of wanted to ask you if you like how do you kind of like catalog the experience that you have like how do you, because do you have just like a ton of project files, do you have like this long history of playing out, like how do you how where is like that evidence, you know, like that the material.
Yeah. I guess in a couple places, like I have a lot of Ableton projects too. But I tend to like I'm really bad at making small Ableton projects, like I'll put a lot of songs in one Ableton
Okay.
project because I build things normally in sets. Like I don't work on just like one song
Mm.
almost ever. So I have like all these projects of different sets that I have a lot of those files. But then I feel like for me, like the archive of field recordings that I have is almost like the bigger thing that feels like that to me,
Hmm.
because I use those for everything.
Hmm.
Um, like all of my instruments are field recording based for the most part. So
Hmm.
that's where like my catalog of like all the sounds I've made over time feels like that. And that's the thing I recycle the most too.
Hmm. No, I
I don't
mean,
know if that's getting at the answer you're looking
yeah,
for.
no, that's yeah, no, I think that is just like it's just like yeah, like there's just this kind of like you really do sort of have to build up this like reservoir of experiences or like even just like things to reference, I think. Um I
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess okay, the second thing I wanted to talk about, right, was that I we've like in conversations that we've had, you've mentioned the importance of fashion and in particular sort of the like the kind of meaning of like personal appearance. And I just kind of wanted to like ask you a little bit about that because I like wear like yeah like what is the role of like fashion to for you? What is the role of personal appearance? Like what does it like do for you?
Yeah. It's like, yeah, it's really important to me. It's like the thing maybe I think of creatively like the most because it's every day. Um,
Yeah.
but like I mean, I was just like a really silent kid. I was like very shy, like wouldn't
Mm.
talk. And like through high school too, unless I knew you, like super shy, but I dressed super loudly. And that, like, I noticed, like, as a social experiment, like, trying all these different ways of dressing, I saw the different ways people treated me, and I was just like, okay, this is really powerful. And so I'm gonna
Okay.
put that intention behind every day. I also had like a mom that was really interested in fashion. I watched her dress all the time. Like, I think until I was like a teenager, I never saw her without heels, and I didn't know she was like short.
Whoa. Whoa.
So I had that influence too. Um, but I just think clothes are so fascinating, and like I don't know, I do this experiment every day and I notice just major differences in how people treat me, like how nice they are to me, like,
Mhm.
whether they kind of like give me more or less space, like all of that
Right.
is like affected. And then aside from that, just like how like the character I want to put on for that
Right.
day. And in the last 2 years, I've been doing a lot of monochrome because I've been getting into like the idea of like outputting a vibrational energy of a color and
Okay.
like seeing how impactful that color is on people,
Right.
you know,
Right. No, I was
around me.
gonna yeah. Cuz
So I don't know.
I I was thinking about this earlier and I was imagining myself pointing at some like I was like, "Oh, and see cuz that's the thing cuz you've talked about like I sort of have almost the I was trying to sort of look at myself and be like, "Oh, my fashion is my clothes are god awful, right? Like I'm literally wearing like just a sweatshirt and like tights with like all these holes in it, but in a way but what happened was I then realized, no, wait, that's actually like, that is exactly what I want people to feel when they look at me. Like, I want people to think that I'm like kind of a little desperate, you know? Like, I want people to think that I need help because, like, I do. So, I like, I don't know. I feel like in a, and yeah, no, the few times that I like have actually like, yeah, put a little bit of thought into like what I'm wearing. I don't know. I love having pictures taken of me. I love it when I have like a really great picture where I just like look really good. And then even just like, yeah, being in a space, like wearing a different like thing and like the way it feels on your body. I don't know. It's like, it's, it's, it's just like something that I haven't explored because I've assumed that I was like too poor to really like engage with it, especially like, and also because yeah, no, I when I was like, before I sort of came out and figured all of that stuff out, I really didn't care about it at all because my mom just like picked all my clothes for me. And I was like, okay, like, sure, I'll wear these cargo shorts, like, but that's not who I am. And so, like, yeah, the performance of masculinity for me was always like kind of ironic in that way.
Mm-hmm.
It was just kind of like, ugh, I don't know. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I talked a
Yeah.
lot, but
No, that's
it's
really
like, you know what I mean though?
totally. Yeah. And I feel like, I don't know, there's a lot of like barriers, I think, to like getting invested in dressing like that, or like even mental barriers, Like I was like really encouraged kind of, or like my parents didn't say
Mm,
anything, like they were fine with me like wearing weird stuff or dressing however I wanted to,
right.
so I was like encouraged to do it, um and then like I was also like someone who I wore a lot of like garbage outfits in high school and like cut up a lot of things, and I still
Mm,
do that stuff, so I feel like breaking that idea that like I need to buy like, I don't know,
yeah.
trendy, like expensive things. Like all of my stuff is just from thrift stores or I like cut it up.
Yeah, I would love to get more into making my own clothes. I don't even know where to start. And like,
I don't know how to make any clothes. I just know how to like take a scissors to something.
well, like, I
You know?
mean, I guess that's the thing, right? Well, because like, take it when you say cut up, do you like cut up pieces and then like reassemble them, or is it just like,
Mostly it's like I lately what I've been doing is like cropping a bunch of blazers. Because for me, like, I'm a short
nice?
person. I've got like really big hips, and it looks ridiculous to have a long blazer
Right.
on me unless it's really big. And so I just like chop it so that it fits my like short torso, and then it's like a whole different thing. But I don't know, or like cutting like weird like peak holes in shirts, or
I want to get really into that. I would like to
you
have more
should.
shirts like that. I just need to go shopping in general. I see all these like I see what really drives me crazy is like there's all this makeup at my workplace and I just wish I could like buy the entire stand. Like cuz there's something about like yeah, all of the different like package it, all of the different sort of like colors and the coordination between like the branding of like makeup stuff is like so powerful. But I
Yeah.
kind of think that that's like awesome is the thing. I kind of think that that's like, and it's just like yeah, no, the look and feel of things like is important, and it's like it's kind of what like makes like it's kind of what makes the thing like the ritual of the thing is what's like is kind of what defines what the substance of something is. Does that make any sense?
Yeah. 100%. Yeah, I feel like that's what it feels like to me every day. It feels like a ritual that I do
Yeah.
every day. And it is like something that is meant to like, empower you or make you feel like yourself or shape your world in a certain way,
Hmm.
for that day. So totally.
Right. No, and that's the thing is that some people have like very different relationships to fashion than that. There's a lot of people that I think, and to myself too, for a certain extent. Um, it not as much anymore, but I think even still, where like yeah, there's this notion of like it's almost like it's just like one of the many, ways in which people try to tell you you're not good enough, right? Like it's just another vector for like, feeling like, oh, I'm not as good as these people because my outfit isn't as cool as their outfit, et cetera, et
Mm-hmm.
cetera. And like things like that. And then also, I think with like gender stuff too, there's a lot of people yeah, are forced, who instead of like engaging with this stuff because they've like been able to make meaning out of it, they're kind of like forced into it. And I think that's the thing you talked about, how like
Mm-hmm.
you'd always been encouraged to like, yeah, kind of like, and you sort of have this long history of like, you know expressing yourself through clothing and da 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 da. And like, I guess that's the thing for so many people, like, yeah, clothes are just this other thing that like they, and there's so much stuff that gets like forced to be like related to in that way. Like, I guess that's the thing, is like looking at something as a burden versus like an opportunity. But it's also like, how would you even, like, what decides that, like what decides if something is a burden or an opportunity? Am I making like any sense at all? I'm sorry, I don't
Yeah,
want to.
you are. I mean, like,
Okay.
how would you know that you could use clothes in that way if clothes have always been like a source of like pain, or like in the way that
Yeah.
they've been like given to you and they don't fit you at all and you have to wear them,
Mm-hmm.
if that's your relationship to clothes, then I would assume it would take a lot of seeing it in another way in order for you to think that you could use it some other way.
Yeah. No, and that's the thing, is that it really is like, it really does all come down to like, yeah, materialism in that way, and that it's like you're like, it's almost like the sort of ritual. It's like this thing you have to grow. It has to happen. You do it once, and then it has to happen again and again and again. And then like, if it can get to this point where the practice just kind of sustains itself after a
Hmm.
while, especially if nothing like crazy happens to you, which is usually
Yeah.
how like things in that way change, is like, which is why, I don't know, which is why like I think my relationship to music is really special, and I'm sure you feel similarly, in that like, yeah, it's this part of me that I've been growing with my whole life.
Hmm.
And unlike all these other parts of me, which like, the jury's still out on like whether or not this is something that holds me back or whatever, unlike all those parts, my arts practice really is something I'm proud of.
Yeah.
And like,
Yeah.
I don't know what, also, if anyone in the chat wants to ask questions, you can. um then the last question, because yes, we are here to watch the Goop Lab. And so and so the Goop Lab, I guess it's a thing, because originally, when like the Goop, like I was sort of going at it like, oh, the Goop Lab is like also like about magic, and like Crystal has all these like magic things that like she's involved with. I wonder if there's going to be some like bouncing off there. But now, looking at the Goop Lab, it really, when I sort of, because I was watching it back, is that it really is very different from what you talk about when I've heard you talk about ritual and magic. So I would like you to elaborate, if you're willing to, on kind of your relationship to those things.
Yeah. Well, I think like I haven't seen the Goop Lab stuff yet, so I'm
Right.
really curious, but from what I know about it, it's like really tied to consumerism.
Yes.
And and that's not like what my uh magical or ritual practice is tied to. If anything, it's like in opposition to that. But I guess like magic and ritual to me are like finding portals inward, for like gaining wisdom from maybe like ancestral knowledge
Mm-hmm.
or wisdom that maybe you have, buried in some way or another that needs like some uncovering.
Mm-hmm.
Um, or ritual is to like unlock cool powers that you might have, like
Right.
different ways of shaping your reality. And like dressing could be a spell,
Right.
like that you find
Right.
through magic. Or, your a new ability to like listen to your environment in a different way to get like wisdom from that on a more
Right.
regular basis.
N-
So that's like more kind of my idea of what magic is or ritual is.
yeah. No, and I
Yeah.
and I think and I think that's the thing is like immediately when people think because that word magic is really does have like a derogatory edge to it, but it's really only derogatory with respect to like well with respect to this like emphasis this like hyper emphasis that we have on like instrumentality, right? Because I think everybody has this idea that oh, these like magic people like they could like shoot fire out of their hands and all this and do all this like terraforming and stuff, which like maybe they could, maybe they couldn't, but the fact of the matter is that like that's not all that like that's not really what magic is like actually about. There's
Mm.
right like there's sort of much less of a focus on like doing a specific thing and kind of more of a like I don't know, do you know what I'm getting at?
Yeah, I mean, I feel like those like displays of magic almost serve to like make magic seem inaccessible.
Right,
Like,
right, right, right.
when like actual magic is accessible to everyone, and I
Mm-hmm.
feel like that's almost like a diversion, but it also like brings to mind like the kind of negative connotation with magic to me is also related to like colonialism and like shoving down other forms of knowledge
Yes.
and not giving it the appropriate weight or like recategorizing it as science and it's only powerful if it's labeled science instead of
Mm-hmm.
magic now. Like
Yes.
so I
Yes.
think about those things a lot too.
Yes. No, elaborate on those things more if you want to.
Well, I've just been like recently I've been doing this theater production
Mm.
where I've been doing the sound design for it and it's like an actual ritual led by Timothy White Eagle. And I
Mm.
had this realization while doing it in Seattle a couple weeks ago where like I realized he's inviting me to be a part of this ritual, but I had never like accepted the role of it. And I had this
Mm.
moment of like accepting like no, I can't like help in this situation if I'm not like doing real magic. Like if I'm not I
Mm.
can't just like play sounds along with him and be like supporting. I have to be like doing real magic. I
Right.
have to believe that this is real and I feel like part of that realization is that like for a long time I've been like softening the magical part of myself or making it more
Mm.
palatable, making it fit into
Mm.
the like vocabulary of science,
Right.
right? In order to make it acceptable. And I just like recently have been like, fuck that
Hell
anymore.
yes.
Like that's doing the work of or furthering the work of colonialism. Like I don't need to like recategorize this stuff
Right.
anymore.
Right. No,
Because
exactly. And like
literally, like those, a lot of scientific discoveries have come from magical practices for a really long time.
right. Right. No, exactly. And that's the thing is like there really is kind of like and I mean, we all like knew this already, but like yeah, especially in all those like facts and logic boys that all of those like those kinds of people and all that stuff all of the like super the like hardcore atheist people and like just a lot of like those kind of camps really did like they it's like we really have like misconstrued the like ancient knowledge. We really do just believe that like people that existed in the past were like so fundamentally dumber than
Mhm.
we were, and it's like and that they like and like in some ways I'm sure that that's true, but like I just like it's just like, yeah, no, people, we knew like so much stuff. We just like wrote it down in a different way.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. Yeah,
And
and also like, a lot of the knowledge holders at that time were also like and practitioners were also women, you
right.
know, like
Mm-hmm.
historically and shifts of power
Yes.
also have a role in that too.
No,
So,
exactly. And it's like it's just kind of crazy because like cuz like the cuz like the West or whatever, right? Like the colonizers really did just like they fucked up a lot of shit, and they like totally just completely without even like without even really like realizing what they were doing, like they knew they just didn't care. And that's, I think that's what's so crazy about it, is like, yeah, they just like really did not give a fuck because they were so caught up in this like vision of like who they thought they were or some bullshit. And like now they've like, yeah, no, now they've like almost destroyed the planet, right? Like 400 years of colonialism, and like we've already fucked the climate up.
exactly. Yeah, and I feel like a lot of artists are kind of trying to backtrack
Yeah.
on that, which
Yeah.
I find encouraging,
Yes.
but it's a lot to tackle for sure.
No, it is a lot to tackle, and it's also like, I don't know, it's like how there's not, it's like a lot of the ways of tackling it are, I think, being, kind of introspective in certain ways, and like really unpacking like specifically certain like tendencies within American culture, I think.
Mhm.
Like just kind of like sort of ways of being that are like really so intuitive to like American culture or whatever that is, that like I don't know. I kind of want to watch the Goop Lab. Can we shift gears? Can we do it?
Yeah, let's
Uh,
watch it.
yeah. Um Thank you for a very thoughtful and stimulating discussion. I enjoyed that. I had a lot of fun.